guys, welcome to Ellie's Life. So today Alexander and I are going to make a tiramisu that is completely raw and vegan and grain-free. So Braden's birthday is tomorrow, and this cake takes at least 1 day. So what we'll do is add the base, then we'll add the filling, and we'll have to put it in the freezer. Give it at least 4 to 5 hours before we add everything else on the top, because we want our chocolate layer to be really cold so it doesn't mush in with our top layer. So let's walk through the ingredients that we will have for our base layer first. And just like any other time, guys, I love simple recipes. So I'll have my big helper here today, and we're going to make a quick and easy raw tiramisu. You ready? Yes. All right, you ready to walk through the ingredients?
Yes.
All right then. The ingredients for the base are 1 cup of almonds, and I have peeled mine, but it's up to you whether you want to do that or not. I soaked them overnight. Then I also have 20 dates that I soaked overnight with some water, and I'm going to use a little bit of that water also. Then I have half a cup of hazelnuts that were also soaked overnight. Then I have 1 full tablespoon of coffee powder. If you want to do less, then that's perfectly fine. 2 tablespoons of raw cacao, 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract, and a pinch of salt.
I can't wait to eat it.
You can't wait to eat it?
Yes.
Well, let's make it first. So now that we have all the ingredients, what you will need is an 8 to 9 inch pan. And if you want it to be a little bit bigger, then you can get a 6-inch pan. You'll have a little bit leftovers, up to you. Then you'll also need a blender or anything that you can have at home to make a one liquefied mixture of all of our ingredients. So let's start with adding the cashews. And the whole cup is going to go in there. Like I said in the ingredients video, you can soak them overnight or at least 4 to 6 hours. Then we'll add the water and the dates in. So this is about 3 to 4 tablespoons of water and 20 dates. Then we're going to add the hazelnuts. The hazelnut give it that awesome creaminess, and it's very flavorful. So by all means, don't skip the hazelnuts with another nut. This is not a recipe that you can really substitute things for because the flavor profile is going to be different. Then 1 full tablespoon of coffee, and I sure hope we don't stay up all night. We have to eat it in the morning. What do you think about that?
Yes.
Yes? All right, 2 tablespoons of cacao powder. And 1 pinch of salt, just a tiny little bit of pinch. We want to concentrate on our flavors a little bit and give it a little bit of a difference. And lastly, we're going to add 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. Give it a really good mix. You want it to be a solidified liquid mixture, but also keep in mind it's your crust. If you like more of a chunkier crust, then by all means do that. Once you are done mixing it, lay it down in your pan and flatten it down with your fingers. It's really hard to do that otherwise. So wet your hands and pat it down with your fingers and have the corners come up a little bit so that way the next layer falls in really nicely. Are you ready to give it a good mix? All right. So this is what the crust looks like, and it's filled about a little bit under half of the pan. And I'm gonna put it in the freezer and come back in a second. We're going to use 1.5 cups of cashews, 20 to 25 dates that you soaked. Again, your cashews you soaked overnight too, same with the dates. Now, you can use 20, and then if you need to sweeten it, add the extra 5. If not, you're perfectly fine. Then use 1/3 of a cup of raw chocolate, so 90% works best. It takes a while to get it melted, guys, so I just added water and waited a while and stir. Then we have 1/3 of cups of maple syrup that you can add any other syrup that you want or sweetener. You can do agave, you can do honey, or whatever your heart desires. Then we have 2/3 of almond milk. I just made it. Mine is room temperature. I find that if it's cold, then it clusters up into little pieces. So if you can have it at room temperature, then do that. Then I have 1/3 cups of cacao powder, 4 tablespoons of cacao butter, and guys, that takes a while, so be patient while you're melting it so that way you're keeping it raw. And then lastly, we have 2 teaspoons of coffee. So now we know the ingredients for the mousse part. Let's go ahead and start mixing everything together. The 1.5 cups of cashew will go in first. Then I'll add the chocolate, and depending on how watery it gets, then I will decide on how much of the actual water from the dates that I want to add on. and that's not too watery, so I'll probably add half of what I have, which is about 2 tablespoons. And the 20 dates, I'm starting off with 20. If I need 5 more, I will get that in just a minute. But considering that we have maple syrup and chocolate, we may not need anything to sweeten it or look a little bit more. So 1/3 cups of the maple syrup or any other sweetener that you'd like to do. Again, room temperature on the almond milk. If you guys make your almond milk, this will be a great recipe just to put some in before you stick it in the refrigerator. And the coconut butter, guys, that took forever to get to this consistency because I didn't want to heat it up over 105 and it was a while. So be prepared to take a little time melting everything that you have in solid form. Then 1/3 cups of cacao, and lastly 2 teaspoons of the coffee. Now, in order to get that nice coffee texture and consistency, you want to add coffee, but you don't have to add as much as I do. You can always add a little less or a little more if you like coffee. I just don't drink coffee, and this is what seems to work for me. Not to keep me all night long, but whatever you decide, let's give it a quick pause, and we'll see you guys in a second. So I got the first base layer out of the freezer just to be able to put in my mousse. And guys, for my mousse lovers, you can use this recipe just to eat it as mousse. It is so thick and creamy and so sweet. I did not need to add anything else to this recipe. I left it just like I told you guys, and it is absolutely sweet and delicious. So once you are done doing that, then layer it out nicely around your pan. And this is a crucial part. We don't want the top layer to get all mixed up in the middle layer. So we'll put this in the freezer for at least 4 to 6 hours until our chocolate mousse cream sets really well. And I'll see you guys later on today. And for our cream layer, we're going to have 3/4 cups of cashews, 3/4 cups of coconut cream or coconut milk. Make sure you go ahead and pop it in the refrigerator the night before that and just use the thick consistency that forms. Then we're going to have 3 tablespoons of coconut oil, 3 tablespoons of sweetener of your choice, and you can use agave, honey, or maple syrup. I'm using maple syrup in mine, and 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. So it has been about 12 hours since we put our cake in the freezer to get really cold. I am in a rush this morning, but I want to get it out the way so that when we get back home, Brady can have his cake. And let's go ahead and put the cashews in. And this is our cream and final layer, guys. This is what makes it or breaks it. Guys, I don't know what happened after I put in my cashews. Obviously, what I did is put up the rest of the ingredients, but my video cut out. So this is the consistency of the final layer. I just got out the cake out of the freezer. So I'm going to put that over it, and it's rather on the not so thick side, actually. I was expecting it to be a little bit thicker, but that's perfectly fine. I guess my coconut milk that was in the refrigerator sat out a little bit too longer, but that's perfectly okay. So now I'm going to put that all over the cake and put it back in the freezer for at least 4 to 6 hours. So I got the tiramisu out of the freezer, and I sprinkled some cacao powder on top of it, and all I'm going to do in addition to that is put some cacao nibs, and if you don't have any, then you can skip this step. I use the sweetened cacao nibs, but you can use the unsweetened ones if you like them better. And we are done. So let's go sing happy birthday to Braden. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Braden. Happy birthday to you. Make a wish. Whatever you want. Your birthday. Yay! Big boy. Guys, so let's give this cake a try and see what all the fuss was about. See if we came up with a new favorite recipe. It is so good. Okay, new favorite cake recipe ever. So I got it out the freezer about 15 to 20 minutes ago, and it has thawed out to really, I mean, like it's still creamy and icy and cold, but it's not like rock frozen. And it's so super yummy. Want to try? No? It looks like you already had your piece. Did you eat your whole piece? I hope you guys have enjoyed making this tiramisu with me. It definitely is a new favorite raw recipe for me. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please go ahead and do that now. Don't forget to turn on the notification button and drop a like. See you guys next time.